I think my father was working with Maurice Sendak in some capacity, and many years later, I stumbled across my copy clearly, of Higgledy Piggledy Pop from when I was a child, and I opened it up thinking, I should read this to my daughter, and there was a drawing of a sheepdog inside it, and it said, Rebecca, I hope you enjoy this, Maurice Sendak. And then I felt very starstruck in that moment, knowing that I would have met Maurice Sendak at 2 years old. And he had drew like a little Wild Things crown on it.
Oh my God. Is it on your wall?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, the book is in a case.
Right.
But I have a case.
In 1974, there was a conversation between a woman named Linda Rosenkrantz and her friend, the photographer Peter Hujar. She had an idea to write a book about artists' daily life, and she invited a number of artists over to speak to her about what they did yesterday. And she recorded those conversations, and then she proceeded to lose the audio tapes of all the conversations. But this particular one she had transcribed and typed, and and then it disappeared. 50 years later, it was found in the Peter Hujar archive at the Morgan Library by a young archivist and historian, and it was published as a book called Peter Hujar's Day. And I read the book while I was working with Ben in Paris on passages, and thought, really, like, on the last page, I was like, we should make this as a movie. It was as one, like that Ben and I should make a movie of this material, and we share, I would say, a love and interest in Peter's work, and also in queer life and queer creation in New York in the 70s and 80s, which for me has been very inspiring as I try to continue, like, to see what those artists did and what they did during that time, and how they did it with a certain kind of freedom and risk-taking has been very inspiring to me.
Peter had no money, that we definitely know. He was, when he died, he was really penniless. Everyone was kind of horrified that he had really nothing at all. So that's obviously not good. But I think there's a freedom that comes with the situation that they were working in, and a kind of radicality was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mixed, I would say. Yeah.
It's one thing I'm thinking as you talk is the nice thing about being together is you actually learn from, like, as you're describing Peter, I think I need to keep this in mind for myself, that not having money for creative things is positive, that it gives you actually attention, and that's a beautiful way to describe it.
I sort of always thought that it would be a good idea to actually, write to a filmmaker when you enjoy a film and say, I really loved that film. But I often sort of chicken out of it, because I'm like, that seems, I don't know, too much. Why would they want it? I don't know. But in this instance, I did it, and I was like, more than write to Ira Sachs, I'm gonna set up a breakfast in New York City, and did, and was able to just express what a fan I was of him. Like he said, he did offer me a job, and I was actually very disappointed I couldn't take that job because of scheduling reasons at the time. And I just wanted to sort of know him and be in his orbit and have an opportunity to work with him. So when this came up, when he suggested this, it was really exciting to me for all the reasons that you said. I live in New York. I have done actually for many, many years now. And I also have a fascination with that era. I think a lot of people do, but it's easy, yes, to romanticize it, but I think there is a good way to romanticize it, in the sense that there was a community, and there was a sense of striving to create and stick it to the man, I guess, that I think is very different to the place that artists find themselves in now, where, that there isn't really any counterculture in a way. There is only culture, which is good and bad, but the sort of sense that there's no, that these were people who were just creating art for art's sake, and not thinking about the commerce angle, or yes, they needed money desperately, but that wasn't their they weren't thinking about how to do something that could have integrity to them and make money or be a brand or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And I think for me, what was interesting about the text, and what I imagined and what has sort of developed with these two, is also a story of a friendship.
Sure.
And I think that is really the unexpected part of the film, and the part that makes it actually seem in the present. Like, you try to make a film that is maybe a period film, but you want that period nature to disappear. And I think that's what happens because of kind of the emotional life between these two people, Ben and Rebecca, and also through these two characters, Peter and Linda.